Sorry. All right, thank you, everyone. Welcome to the March 17th Oak Ridge Board of Education meeting. We are using a little technology today, so as we go along, please just bear with us as we get through this. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision, Channel 118, and BIOS, Channel 24. By filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. The Board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mayor?
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered a private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Okay, roll call, please.
Question, so how do we, so Burns will respond?
Yes.
You do normal roll call and people present by phone are legally present.
So she'll respond?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Burns?
And please turn that lower. Won't even have me. Turn that lower.
Teresa, are you here?
Oh, wait a minute.
Ms. Burns? Ms. Burns?
Yes?
Present?
Yes, present.
Callie?
Present.
DeCaro?
Present.
DePrima?
Here.
Dunn?
Here.
Giordano?
Here.
Lent?
Here.
Silikowski? Ellis Foster? Here. Quorum exists. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could you all remain standing?
Oops.
How do I hear myself? The board would like to, in memorandum, recognize and acknowledge the death of Joseph Sweeney, former district educator and administrator, and express its deepest sympathy to his family and friends. Okay, thank you. All right. Again, as we said, as we know, we are in unusual times. There we go. And so we are going to use our conferencing later on as we go into public comment. So we're trying to manage that. So hopefully we can still hear from everybody if they want to speak. Again, it's our first time, so we appreciate everyone's patience as we're going through this and as we're going pretty much through everything right now over the next couple of weeks. So we'll start with our code of ethics, and Mr. Giordano.
The board member will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
Thank you. So I think what we have first is we have the approval of minutes. And I'm not sure, I just want to make sure that everybody at home did hear, we are all here in the TV studio, but Mrs. Burns is virtually. So in case you don't see her, she is here in the meeting. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes?
Carol will motion.
Thank you.
Lent will second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, Mr. Mayor?
Burns?
Okay.
Callie?
Yes.
DeCaro?
Yes.
Prima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, we got it. Thanks, Teresa. Yes, thank you. Our student representative isn't here. And we have a recognition on the agenda. However, we're going to move that to a different meeting when we're able to have everybody here in place with us. So we will do that at that next meeting. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Sedadino for his report.
Thank you, Board President. These are certainly uncharted waters that we're in as a school district, community, and nation. The COVID-19 has been a point of discussion with my administrative team since it left the continent of Asia, and we have been planning and working with county representatives about a plan, amending that a pandemic plan that we had in place. I think that one thing that happened was, even with the state, that it was really here before they anticipated that it would be. But we had our plan in place nonetheless. It was approved prior to our first case here in Old Bridge. If we go back a little bit in the history of where we are now, on Thursday evening, approximately a little after 5 p.m., when I already sent out an alert referencing the good health of Old Bridge, we had received information that while working in collaboration with health officials in town and OEM, that there was someone with high probability, what they called eventually as a possible exposure to COVID-19 from a parent with a child in district who had flown domestically and commuted to New York City, often on the subway system. So we had no choice at that time, after consulting with the county superintendent and local and county health officials, but to close school on Friday, using Friday and Monday as snow days. And we used that time to continue the disinfecting that we've been doing in our schools. We use a product called Virex. It is an antiviral, antibacterial. We use it across the district on school buses, in classrooms. It gets applicated, left to dry. Sometimes it's wiped down, but after only 10 minutes, because that's what's necessary to kill COVID-19 and any other bacterial or viral items that are out there. So we progressed to Saturday, and we had received the good news that that original alert had come back negative after a test. However, we then later around 6 p.m. that there was a positive case involving a parent with a child in district at Shiraz School. And thank goodness our schools were already closed. We took all precautions in place at Shiraz School. Meanwhile, we had known that that student wasn't in class on Wednesday, so the last time the student was there was Tuesday, and it had given us well beyond the 3 days that were needed for COVID-19 on a hard service to make sure that it is no longer a live virus. Even beyond that, we did do a deep clean of the building prior to anyone coming into the building when we resumed activities on Tuesday, even though schools were closed, Tuesday being today. So when I've field lots of questions and concerns about it, some people saying this is an overreach and an exaggeration, not only just by Old Bridge, but the health community at large. And since this has been going on, I've been doing a lot of research on it, and having the advantage of looking at Asia and looking at Europe, it gives us a real glimpse as to what's going on and what we can anticipate and what we need to do quickly to change our behaviors if we do not want to anticipate what's going on, like in countries like Italy. So I think, CDC and others say we're about 2 weeks behind Italy. I think there's about 2.5 weeks, but this is what I know, that when people say to me that it's like the flu, and if you take that understanding, and if that's the case, it's like having the worst flu you ever had. Now take that and say, well, having the worst flu you ever had while the medical system is crashing and while they're overwhelmed. So that's why our leadership and in the state and nationally has taken considerations to obviously trying to flatten the curve and to promote social distancing. And that is one thing outside of a vaccine that at least helps save lives. They use information and studies from the 1918 pandemic of influenza that ravaged the global landscape. So we are doing that, and to plan for that, we happily launched our remote learning system today, our remote learning platform. It went off very well. We had students, from the data that I received, nearly 5,000 students by 2 o'clock were already using some of the platforms that we have out there for remote learning and working with their teachers. I went out and followed the buses around. We saw buses giving deliveries out to students and their families. These meals were not only for any student who was on free and reduced lunch, but any student who wants a meal. When you go to the bus stops that are identified online and in our packet that went out, if you're not one of those students, it'll just be deducted from your account. And we also made sure up until 7 o'clock tonight we were giving or lending social HP streams to our families that do not have a device at home, or they not have enough devices at home. I understand many parents are working from home right now, so they may be using the primary device in the house. So we were able to do that today with great success. And we will continue tomorrow with our remote learning platform, and we'll have that going with our meals that go out at the bus stops starting approximately 9:30 a.m. I want to thank everyone who's made this a success. I was looking at emails prior to this meeting, and it was really almost quite emotional in seeing some of the feedback from our parents, how pleased they were with teachers going above and beyond, and some of the work that the teachers had put in to make it a personal touch, to make kids feel as though they had their back and they were comfortable and they weren't scared and they had an understanding, and they were going to work through this together. And it's one thing about the teaching profession itself and anyone in education, but I always especially see it here in Old Bridge because I feel like we're always up against something. And when we're up against it, our teachers come there and they let the students know that they're there for them, and no one's going to harm their child. So I was really taken back by some of the videos that I even saw and some of the things that were shared with me. It was really quite touching. So I want to thank everyone that, our secretarial staff who helped us today in getting out the packets for K-2 that were mailed out today. You should be receiving them as soon as possible. And we're going to keep on doing what we do, and if you need anything, you know how to reach me. You can reach my office, 732-290-3977. There most days. And you can also reach us on our website, or you can reach me at my email address, dcitadino@obps.org. And whatever resources I'll have, I'll make available to you. And as we address the needs of our students, I want everybody to stay connected, be good to one another, be kind to one another, because that's the most important thing that's going to help us get through this. You may think that, there's not enough information somewhere, sometime, but people are working hard, and people are working to get information out to you and make sure that when you need something, it'll be there available for you. So I want to thank everybody in this great town for coming together and working for everyone's best interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cittadino. Can I have one question? I know a lot of people, there's lots of little questions coming up, right? Because this is so new and nobody knows. If somebody has a question, who's the best person to reach out to? Is it the student's teacher is the first person they should talk to, or who?
Yeah, so if it's, that's probably the best way to go, I would say. Our teachers are directly in contact with the students on a daily basis through Teams or a few other formats that we have. So ask the teacher. If they don't have access to the resource, they can go through the principal, and the principal can assist them. They can come through central administration. But we can't help you until we know what the problem is, and if there's a problem, we can certainly try to help you.
Great, thank you. And you know what, I will say this later, but I cannot thank you enough. Dr. Hoker, Mr. Mara, the whole central administration, just working nonstop over the last few days, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go on to, does anyone have a committee report? I don't think so, all right. Mr. Mayor, do we have any correspondences?
No correspondence.
Okay. Now comes the fun part. We're going to open up to hearing of the residents. So I do see a number of people online. If you are online and you do want to speak, could you just use the chat just to tell me, and I can unmute you, and we can make sure you get your question or your comment in. Or there's not a whole bunch on. If you want to just unmute yourself, you can do that also. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go with that nobody has a comment right now who are online from the public. If you do during this, just shoot me a chat on this and I'll make sure we open it up and we get to hear from you. So if not, we'll just continue on with the agenda. The first thing we have is curriculum, personal development. Items 1 through 4. If I could have a motion, please.
Madam President, I will
Mr.
move
Dunn?
curriculum professional development, items 1 through 4.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second. Me.
Ms. Kelly, thank you. Any comments, questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just was looking at 1 and 2 and how quickly they're coming up. Particularly number 2 on March 20th. Are we still registering for that? Knowing that that will probably be canceled, if it hasn't already.
I imagine there's gonna be a lot of these type of things coming up, which will, so I'm gonna, administratively remove that. And, administratively remove A and B. You're correct. That's a good point.
And under number 3,
Revert here.
Okay.
never mind.
Okay, oh, we're good. I'm sorry, I thought he was still thinking.
Not all.
Okay, so I thought you were still thinking.
So not all of number 3 are
Number 3?
online.
Or online? At least the first one is online. And then the next 3 are not. Okay?
Okay.
So let me just make sure, we're administratively removing number 1, both A and B, and the last 3 from number 3? Because the first one is online.
Yeah, the last ones occurred, so I would
Oh, okay.
suggest, it's not an inordinate amount of money, leaving them on there.
Okay.
They may reschedule them, and then they'll just be approved already.
All right. Thank you. Do you have that?
No, remove 1, A and B, leave 2, leave 3.
Okay. All right, any other questions? No. Can we have roll call, Mr. Mayor, please?
Okay, so we're voting on 2 through 4. DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 2 through 4 pass.
thank you. Athletics, number 1, it's a long one. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Callie will second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Who was that first?
DeCaro and the Cowie. Any questions, comments? No, roll call, Mr. Mayor, please?
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent. Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
All right. Finance, number 1 through 9. Can I have a, oh, no, maybe I'm not right. I'm sorry, 15. Sorry about that. Finance 1 through 15.
Dunn will move finance items 1 through 15, Madam President.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
DeCaro will second.
Thanks, Mr. Karen. Okay. Now, Mr. Mayor, do you want to, is there any questions? I think, Mr. Mayor, are you going to talk about 14?
Yeah, I will start the discussion about a number of resolutions.
Okay.
Beginning with number 9, in the 2020-2021 budget, we will be using $1,475,000 to cover the cost of 8 projects which are listed in the agenda, and for the sake of the audience, I'll read them off. There's a TV studio project for $40,000. There's computer infrastructure upgrades for $200,000. There's $370,000 for sidewalk curb replacement. There's $315,000 for the Cooper boiler. There's $310,000 for the PA system at Sandburg. There's $100,000 for the hydroponics lab at the high school. There's $100,000 for the floor lighting system at the GNC building. And there's $40,000 for an HVAC upgrade at Miller School. That's resolution number 9. Resolution number 10, again, these are funds that are being used for next year's budget. We will be using $250,000 of maintenance reserve funds to cover required maintenance projects in the district. Resolution number 11, we will be using $200,000 of emergency reserve funds to upgrade our security systems. And number 12, we will be using $351,795 of our unrestricted fund balance to fund the 2020-21 budget. If we skip to resolution number 14, this is the resolution to approve the budget. That is the budget which will be submitted to the county and state to be approved for advertising only. There is the ability to change this budget once it's approved by the county between the county approval date and the public hearing, and that change in the budget would take place at the public hearing, which is scheduled for May 5th, Tuesday, May 5th at 7 p.m. right here in the TV studio. This budget reflects all of the same programs that are in place in 2019-20. There are no cuts in this budget. And one thing which I wanted to point out to the public and to the board, that we are an S2 district, which we all know up here, and under Chapter 78, 18A:7F-5D, any district that is an S2 district, which is receiving a cut in its state aid from the years 2019 to the years 2025, is spending below adequacy, is required by this statute to increase our local tax levy each year 2%. So we cannot increase the tax levy less than 2% in each year between 2019 and 2025. With that, if there are any questions by the board members, I would ask you to ask me now.
Though actually, I have one for the public, because I'm not quite sure it's clear here, but I just want to make sure that this includes, and correct me if I'm wrong, a $3.8 million cut in state aid this year, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Right, so, I mean, I think the thing that is most impressive about this budget is that we are still up against this huge financial cut and crisis, and we're able to do a budget, or I would say the administration and the staff, I use the royal way that I didn't really have anything to do with it as our amazing professionals, a budget with $3.5 million cut, and we do not have to cut staff or programs. So I think that is monumental, and as a taxpayer, maybe we know we don't like taxes raised. However, this is the predicament we've put in by the state that is requiring us to do this, to be able to fund the programs that was able to let us quickly act like we were able to allow students to work remotely, to have the technology, to have the apparatus to let us do this. So I thank everybody with this, and I think, at least from a budgetary standpoint this year, I think it is much better, and it is going to continue to improve our services. So thank you. Anybody else?
I just have one thing to say. Oops. Oh, okay. I happen to have been watching.
Just turn yours off.
Members, regarding the Board of Ed budget, and, he was directing the question to the town business administrator, because they gave their budget presentation last night as well, and he was asking the business administrator there if he could do a presentation of the Board of Ed budget, because, he was curious about it, and, of course, he was advised that we give our own presentation, it's hard for me to talk to the wall, that we give our own budget presentation. So I'm just hoping that, that they took it upon themselves to tune in tonight to hear this budget presentation, because like I said, I was watching and I know there was a question about it. So hopefully the town council members did tune in tonight to hear Mr. Mara's presentation. Thank you. That's it.
Anyone else? Okay, and again, while the state is giving us some breaks on a few things, this budget timeline is not one of them. Did you want to say? Oh, so we do have to go through this. As Mr. Mara said, this can change, and it will still have a public open meeting on this. So roll call, Mr. Mara, please.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yeah.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 15 pass.
thank you. Next is non-certificated personnel operational, number 1. Can I have a motion, please?
Callie will move.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Lent
No
will
second.
second.
Lent, we're going to give you Lent, she was a little faster. Lent, thank you. Any questions, discussion? Okay, roll call, Mr. Mayor, please.
Burns,
Yeah.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolution 1 passes.
thank you. Next is non-certificated personnel, other 1 through 7. If I can have a motion, please.
DeCaro will motion.
Thank you.
Callie will second.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion?
Yes. I would like to just congratulate Susan Ahern on her retirement effective July 1st. as a paraprofessional, as a former paraprofessional, I appreciate everything you've done for the past 27 years. You are a dedicated staff member, and I wish you well in the next journey. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call, Mr. Mayor, please.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent.
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 7 passed.
thank you. Next, certificated personnel, number 1 through 20.
Dunn will move certificated personnel items 1 through 20, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Can I have a second, please?
Lent will second.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn. Any questions, discussion, comments?
Yes, there are 2 administrative corrections under Resolution Number 2, and this is at the direction of Dr. Hoker. We are removing item 2D and 2H. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Mr. Mayor, can we have roll call, please?
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 20 pass.
Thank you. Next, non-certificated personnel transportation, 1 through 3. See, number 4 was administratively removed. If I could have a motion, please.
DeCaro will move.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Can I have a second?
Lent will second.
Thanks, Ms. Lind. Any questions? Questions? No? Roll call, Mr. Mayor?
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1, 2, and 3 pass.
Thank you. Next, supplies, equipment, and services, numbers 1 through 6. If I can have a motion, please.
Dunn will move supplies, equipment, and services items 1 through 6, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Can I have a second?
Lent will second.
Thank you, Ms. Lint. Any questions, discussion?
Discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, did you have a question, Teresa?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I didn't say
Oh,
anything.
I thought it was you. Sorry, apologies. Okay. All right. Any questions? No, then, Mr. Merrick, we have a roll call, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6.
Thank you. Transportation, items number 1 through 3. Could I have a motion, please?
Dunn will move transportation 1 and 2.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Carol will second.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Any questions, conversation?
Yes, Ms. Ellis Foster, I just wanted to advise the board that as a result of the closing of schools, I've advised all the transportation subcontractors that have a contract with the district that effective tomorrow, we will no longer be utilizing their services until the school reopens.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Can we have roll call, please, Mr. Mayor?
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima.
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 3 pass.
thank you. Miscellaneous, items number 1 through 6. Could I have a motion, please?
Carol, motion.
Thanks, Mr. Carroll. Can I have a second?
Callie will
second.
second.
All right, Ms. Kelly, thank you. Any questions, discussions? Nobody? All right, great. Then roll call, please, Mr. Mayor.
Lent,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes,
we
we
got
got
it.
it. We got it. DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
thank you. No board business thing. So that is all the agenda items. So we can now open it up to, again, hearing of the residents. If there is anybody on the conference call who would like to give a comment, you can actually, there's not too many, you can just unmute yourself, and we can be able to hear you if you have any questions or a comment.
You got a comment on here.
Oh, we have a comment online. Can you read it?
Oh, you want me to read it? Okay.
I can't see it.
I don't know who it's from.
Okay.
Said, I don't want to speak, but I just wanted to share a message from me that as a parent and head of PTA and President's Council, I'm so proud of the hard work and dedication the staff all across the board has put in for this process for the Old Bridge children and families. Could not be in a better hands. Again, thank you, and for caring for our children like they're your own.
Thank you. Anyone else on the conference call would like to make a comment? Okay. All right, so seeing no public comments, any board members?
I'd like to just say one thing, please. Mr. Cittadino, a big thank you to you and your staff. I'm sure I speak for at least half of the district, the community. You did this in like 4 days. Unprecedented, uncharted waters, and you guys did a great job. Thank you so much.
A lot of teamwork, top to bottom, everyone did it together. It wasn't just one person doing it, it's a lot of us all working together, and a lot of people standing up when things got hard, so, thank you.
I would like to echo exactly what Sal DePrima just said about the administration. They've done an incredible job pertaining to getting our schools online for virtual learning. I think that this is unprecedented, and I think that this is something that we will overcome. We overcame September 11th, Sandy superstorm, and now we have the corona's COVID-19 to overcome. And Old Bridge is a magnificent place, and this just shows our compassion and love for each other, and we will do everything and anything to preserve what we have. So with that said, I love Old Bridge, I love everyone here, and we'll continue to persevere and make sure this is a better place for our kids. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, not to belabor the point, but Mr. Cittadino, thank you for everything you've done. I know every year, this is going to be the easy year. And I'm sure we'd all take last year over this year. So you and your staff, your administrative staff, your teaching staff, everybody involved is doing an amazing job. And for missing that pandemic handling class in superintendent school, you really are doing an amazing job. And we're very, very, very grateful to have you leading us. And thank you, Mr. Mara, and all of your staff for your hard work in putting this budget together. I mean, to not have to cut anything while still dealing with the cuts from the state is nothing short of amazing. So thank you. And I just wanted to say, everybody out there, please be safe, and most of all, be kind to one another.
I feel like we're all just echoing each other, but a big thank you to you and your staff, Mr. Cittadino. I thought this was a difficult year prior to this, and it could only get better, hopefully.
Yes, so just take everything that everybody said, add that up, and, you know, they say that a great team is led by a great leader. So, you know, that's, it's just that trickle down, you know, mentality. And the one thing that so of course, thank you guys. But the one thing that I've noticed that, you know, I'm just so proud of our team, of our staff, seeing on Twitter and on Facebook, all the videos and all of the teachers reaching out, via social media, you know, via Twitter, via all of these things, you know, posting pictures of their own family, of their, you know, their area where they're working for their, say, 7th grade class, where they have a 2nd and a 5th grader sitting at the table doing their work. And just seeing that and seeing all of the shout outs by, you know, the principals, the teachers, just to keep everybody engaged is just, it's just the way we are here in Old Bridge. You know, horrible thing happens, we come together, we get through it. So I just really want to thank, and the parents too, the parents for being supportive and for being patient with how things are going. You know, so I just really want to not only thank you guys, but thank all of our teachers and our staff and our faculty and our parents and, you know, last but not least, our students who are, you know, hopefully doing what they're supposed to be doing and logging in and doing their work at home. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Burns?
Yes, I just wanted to thank administration for all their hard work. I've been connecting teachers way after hours, and they've been so helpful in getting all this together. And something like that hasn't happened in America over 100 years. So definitely something for the books. Stay safe.
Thank you. That's good. All right, so thank you. It is hard to kind of go last, but a few things. I want to thank Mr. Jadowski for coming in and making sure that we can get this out to all of you. And again, I think everybody did say the staff, you know, sharing that stuff online, which is, it's fabulous. I mean, I think it's going to be a long haul trying to keep everybody motivated, so thank you, everyone. There's great stories out there. I know parents, it's probably not going to be easy. You know, mine are a little older, but I do remember those days. If you're locked in the house, it's going to be long and I'm sure frustrating, but thank you for hanging in on all of this. So continue. If you do have a question, I'm sure we're going to have some little hiccups along the way. It's the first time we're all doing this, so please have patience. If you have a question, as Mr. Cittadino, start first with your child's teacher. They'll be the one who will have probably the most knowledge of what's going on with your student in their class. Reach out. So if you have a question, don't be afraid to. So, you know, don't try to assume the worst. Hopefully, there's easy things we can fix. We all, you know, going to do this together. So, so it is St. Patrick's Day. So I say Shlante, which is Gaelic, which actually means good health. So I think it's apropos that we wish everyone good health. Please be safe. And we'll all be communicating, I'm sure, over social media, and hopefully we'll just keep hearing good news and good stories. So on that, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Then we'll make a motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Thank you. In a second.
Carol, second.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you, everyone.